Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another brand new episode. Today's features my friend, Tom Morrow. Had a great time catching up with Tom as he makes his debut on the show. And we dive into some of his story. Play a couple of songs, live acoustic, talk about his new singles and his debut EP coming out this summer. And so hope you enjoy it. You can catch him live Saturday night at the Dark Room on May 17th in St. Louis, Missouri. Opening up for friends of the show, Dead Format. So grab tickets and join us at the Dark Room in St. Louis Saturday night, 10 p.m. start, and check it out. It's going to be a good time. If you need anything from me, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me, rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Tom Morrow.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Tom Morrow, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Tom Morrow.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, man. This is super cool. Very excited to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we've kind of known of each other for a while, but we've kind of been running around like the similar circles, and but yeah, you were passing through St. Louis back home, and we said, hey, let's do this, and we made it work. So
Hell yeah.
we're here today, man.
Absolutely.
But I guess for people that don't know Tom, I think we should go back a little bit and kind of talk about some of the early days, and we'll get into what you're up to right now. We got 2 brand new singles out there ready to go, and a big show coming up and stuff. But take me back a little bit. Like I said, we're back here at home in St. Louis. What was like for young Tom growing up around here?
For young Tom, dude, it was good. We're at my parents' house right now, which is great. And so, thanks for making the trek all the way out here to Kirkwood.
Right. Yeah.
Born and raised St. Louis. Got my start in music around middle school. Started doing like theater stuff. Started picking up the guitar, that kind of thing. And then started playing in bands. Did that whole, started playing the whole circuit around town. Back in the day, man, like, Cicero's and
Right.
and the Foam and all these places that aren't even there anymore.
Sure. Yeah. R.I.P. Pour one out.
Oh yeah. Way Out Club and all the little hole in the wall. Is that place still there?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think the building is, but it's not a active venue anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, all those places. So yeah, I did the whole band thing all throughout middle school and high school. Then I went to college in Nashville. So I kind of moved my focus to there, and started playing around town there a lot, and then started touring. So I ended up dropping out of college. But I still come back and I like to play here, man.
Yeah.
I did a show not too long ago at the center stage place where that old, is it KDHX? That
Formerly KDHX, the stage.
Yes. Yeah, that's a cool spot, man.
Yeah, I really like that room. I'm glad that it's still going.
Yeah.
It's a neat little space for sure.
It's funny. I played there years ago when I was in School of Rock, which is also a part of my history here. But that was at the time it was the KDHX stage. But since then, it's obviously become something else. But yeah, made my rounds around town. Then moved to Nashville. Started doing that whole thing. But man, I'm stoked to be back. Stoked to be playing this show on Saturday, and just get to see all the homies and get to reconnect with a bunch of old friends.
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't have any plans or you want to change your plans, come on out Saturday night. The Dark Room in St. Louis, Missouri, down in Grand Center area there. And you will be taking the stage along with my buddy's Dead Format.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be a really cool night. And it's and that's another great space. Really, I mean, all the work that the Kranzbergs do for St. Louis music is incredible. And but that's a great space to enjoy a night and have a good time over there.
Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a nice, intimate sort of vibe, which is, it seems kind of like the thing that they try to curate there. So yeah, it'll be me and a full band, and then Dead Format also with their whole band. So yeah, should be dope. I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah.
Well, come on out and join us at the Dark Room in St. Louis and see Dead Format and Tom Morrow. So moved to Nashville. You said you ended up, was for school, then ended up dropping out of school, but what was the focus was on performance or?
Yeah, it was guitar playing and then songwriting. So I was kind of trying to hit both of the things that I guess I was initially interested in when moving down there. So I graduated high school. I graduated from Kirkwood High School in 2020. So right when the pandemic starts. So that was an interesting thing to happen at that time in my life, obviously, because, people have heard this all before, obviously, since it's been years since the pandemic, but we were all looking forward to the senior prom and all the graduation and all these trips and all these different things that, you hear about your whole schooling life leading up to that. Sure. And then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under your feet there. So then I ended up going to school in Nashville, and honestly, it was the best thing for me because even though everything was still shut down, there wasn't really much music happening. I didn't know anyone. Campus was very closed off and stuff. Just the fact that I could just kind of get into a new situation, a new scene, start to get to know new people and kind of break out of the cycle of being stuck at your folks' house for as much as they're amazing people. Right. There's only, when you're 18, there's only so much you can really handle of that, I think. So it was good I was going stir crazy. It was good to get out of there, or out of here and down there. And so, yeah, early on in college, not much was happening. I didn't really know a whole lot of people, but once COVID restrictions started kind of loosening up a little bit, started getting out, going to shows, started playing shows, started meeting a bunch of people, started gigging. And then, so I think after a while, I was there for a couple of years, 3 years. As I became busier outside of school, started playing more gigs and doing more writes and playing sessions and all these different things. I was doing regional tours, and then on my breaks, I would do bigger tours, but it just got to the point where it was kind of either you can stay in school and do that and finish it, or I had all these opportunities popping up, and I think I made what I still believe to be the right choice, luckily, which is to drop out, just because they kind of made it tough for me to do both. I went to a school that has a pretty decent sized music program and arts focus, but there's only a certain point, I guess, they were willing to let me sort of go off on my own while still being enrolled. So ended up just dropping. And then the gig that I left school for was to go on tour with at the time, the winner of American Idol, who his name's Iam Tongi. He's like a reggae, like islander kind of artist. Super cool dude. Fresh off the show. And he was like the biggest like artist to have, like he made a very big viral splash, I guess you could say, when he was on that show. More so than I think a lot of the people that even win that show. You know what I mean? So I started playing with him,
How'd that come about? Were you already friends or?
No, it's funny. I was playing at this this open mic called Pitch Meeting in Nashville, which is like they take the open mic format where like people like artists come in and they sign up to play their song and then they get up and play the song. But instead of doing it like a traditional open mic where you just get up and play your song by yourself, there's like this huge full like 10-piece band with like a horn section and keyboards and multiple guitars and drums and bass and like background vocalists and all these things that learn your song like on the spot on stage and play your song with you. So like they kind of flip the whole formula on its head, and it's really dope. And so I started going there and started signing up, and I'd get up there and play with them, and then I started becoming friends with them. And the band leader, his name is Eric Fortaleza, he does music contracting, so then he figured out that I could play guitar, like other than just being an artist, and he was like, hey, like, why don't you come play with the band? So I started playing that open mic every Tuesday for like 6 months, and really started to like hone my chops, I think, in like that sort of improvisational live setting.
Yeah.
And then he also was contracting some of the American Idol artists at the time. And he was like, hey, are you free like next weekend? Like it started with one gig. And I was like, yeah. Like, and so we played this festival, with Iam. And then he was like, are you free next weekend after that one? And I was like, sure. Played like a gig in Hawaii. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, we're going to do a couple shows in LA. And then it was like, here's like a list of 30 tour dates, like all this fall.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, well, I need to get serious about this, or I need to drop out of college and do this, or I need to do it the other way around. And I was like, man, why am I paying to learn how to do this when I can get paid to go do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's super cool to hear, man. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I like exactly that. I feel like, people are going to college to get this experiences, and then you're out there doing it, learning on job training kind of thing. You're out there going firsthand. So, that's super cool that opportunity came and knocking.
Definitely.
And I feel like that's the biggest thing is just saying yes.
Yeah.
Not being afraid to see where this may take you. It's like, it might be the wrong path, but you're going to learn something to take it. But I mean, like, so it's like, I think there's more good comes from saying yes to something into the, jumping into the unknown and hopping on that tour or whatever, might be. So.
Well, and the other thing too is like school, like I can always go back to college,
sure.
But that kind of thing doesn't come around every day. So it's like, for me, I was like, all right, well, if this really doesn't work out, like I can always just re-enroll next semester.
Right,
you know what I mean? And luckily, like it's kind of continued from there. So,
yeah, man,
I didn't have to necessarily, but yeah, I still get the questions from some of my family members, like, hey, are you going to go back? And I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of did. I mean, not that it was a tour or anything, but I kind of did that move, like where I was trying to go to school just here locally, and was trying to work. Trying to go work all day in construction, and I was going to night school.
Yeah,
and I was like falling asleep because I was like exhausted, and then it's like, so I was like, okay, I'll go to work at night and go to school during the day.
Yeah,
see if that works out. And that was 20 years ago, and I haven't been back. And like,
Gotcha.
I was just like, I started to, I kept working, and it's like, and I do regret, there's some of it I wish I would have, gone and pursued it, but then also I was like, I don't know, I'm happy with how my life's going and how it's opportunities that came about and stuff. So it's like, but yeah, like I said, there's never too late, and it's like,
right.
It's cool to see, you see some of these these people like in their whatever 70s and 80s and things going back and getting their degree just to to say they did it, you know, to fulfill that dream that they had. And
Definitely.
so you know, but yeah. So you so the tour life was cool. Like, was that I mean, getting to see a little bit of the world and stuff. Getting, you said Hawaii and all that. And
Yeah, man. Yeah, with I toured with Iam for 6 months, and then after that, I toured with a country artist named Chase Matthew for a little over a year. So I full time, like touring was my full time job for about 2 years. And yeah, in that time, I toured in like 12 different countries. I did like 42 or 43 out of the 50 states. I did 250 shows. I saw a lot, met a lot of people.
yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, the tour life's kind of wild. It's like simultaneously, it's like the thing that every musician's been dreaming about since they were a kid, you know? And like that, the excitement of that combined with the fact that like it can be a very high octane like lifestyle, that juxtaposed with like the ridiculously long hours on planes and in vans and on the bus and waiting for sound check, and like it's one of those things where it's like a hurry up and wait kind of thing, where like you're sitting there for 8 hours and then all of a sudden like everything is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know? So it definitely it takes some getting used to. But I really liked it for the time that I was doing it. I think more recently in the last 2-3 months, I have kind of paused the touring thing to focus more on like this artist project and like some more in town. By in town, I mean Nashville / regionally based things like sessions and gigs that are a little closer to home, just so that I'm not spending quite as much time, out of the state or out of the country or whatever.
Yeah.
Cause I really want to make this like whole artist thing work. And I think as an artist, you can transition that into a lot of things like the songwriting and the producing and the session playing and all these things that I'm really interested in and that I've done. But I think, from based off a lot of the advice that I've received and a lot of the artists that I look up to, like their careers very much so benefit their auxiliary careers in songwriting and production and session playing. All that stuff is very much, it's pushed up quite a bit by the fact that they're also an artist, and they have these artist projects, and that gets them much more visible to a lot of different people. And then all of a sudden they have all these other things going for them. So, long story short, like, I guess that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to do right now, and trying to make a name for myself rather than just, working for or being tied to an artist that already has a big name. And if I got let go, or if I quit that gig or whatever happened, I wouldn't necessarily be a big name in the industry even just because I was with them. Does that make sense? Like I want to do stuff that is firmly mine and try to build that name for myself,
Definitely.
So
well, you're
one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, we got a couple of singles I mentioned, and so you're well on your way with introducing the rest of the world to Tom Morrow's music, and we got one that I feel is very timely with Mother's Day just last weekend. We got a song titled "We Are," parentheses, "Oh Mama."
Oh yeah.
And man, this is one that I really like a lot. Like it was on repeat most of the day today.
Yeah.
Really enjoy the song.
Thanks, man.
And it's for me, it's my I lost my mom 5 years ago, and so there's a lot in this song that resonates for me. The line that kind of jumped out was we're all full grown men, but we still cry like kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like that a lot. Like, there's just it gets in. It's never easy, man. It doesn't get any easier. It's just like you learn to deal with it and stuff. But I mean, you come up with like a day like Mother's Day or a birthday or Christmas or whatever, and he just like it hits you in the feels every time. Like but this is, I mean, not that this song is like all that, but that's where I've connected to the lyrics in the song, and
For sure.
and I really enjoyed what you had to say. But what does this song mean to you? Where were you mind wise writing these lyrics and stuff? And
Yeah, man. This song, I wrote it. It's funny. A lot of songs that I write, it takes me a couple sittings to fully write out. But this was one of those that kind of just happened in about an hour. I was just messing around with some chords, and all of a sudden I came across like this chord progression and this melody that I was like, whoa, I feel like this is something. And I think at the time I was 22 when I wrote this, so about a year ago. And I was grappling with the fact that like you said, life is tough, man. Like even if things aren't necessarily, happening very badly or whatever, like just the accumulation of a lot of things can often get to you. And I remember sitting at my house in Nashville just thinking like, I wish my mom was here to comfort me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just because, I was feeling some heavy stuff at the time, and I had recently lost a family member, and I had gone through a breakup that, around that time too. And I was like, man, like there's just so much happening, and I feel like the weight of the world is hitting me right now. And I think like the sort of hook at the end of the chorus is better in our mother's arms we are, right? So it's like, regardless of whether you have a good relationship or a bad relationship with your mother, or if she isn't with us anymore, I feel like any way you look at it, that still rings true. And I think that's kind of the way I tried to write it, was like regardless of your own personal relationship with your mom, or where you are in that, or where she is in her life or whatever, like the sort of metaphorical like mother figure, like that is something that everyone knows what that is. You know what I mean? So I think that was kind of the inspiration of at least the lyric itself. But man, yeah, I just remember sitting there like, dude, I just just wish I was hanging with my mom right now.
yeah.
Oh, mama, can you hear it? That whisper wheeling wide across the miles. Oh, mama, we are tired. Can my friends and I sit with you for a while? Everything all at once has come crashing down on us, on our souls and bodies wounded by the touch of our lovers. We are of our brothers. We are of our natures. Ooh, we are. But better in our mother's arms, we are. Oh, mama, can you help us? We're full-grown men, but still cry like we're kids. Oh, mama, can you save us? inching closer to when we'll be by the side of our lovers. We are, we are, we are, oh, our brother. We are, we are, we are, oh, our nature. Ooh, we are, we are, we are, oh, our preachers. We are, we are, we are, oh, our teachers. We are, we are, we are, oh, our fathers. We are, we are, oh, our mothers. We are, we are, we are. 'Cause better in our mother's arms, we are.
So yeah, that I think that's kind of where that came from. And then the other thing too is like there's that song applies to other things. Like there's other figures in the song, like you know, our lovers, our brothers, our teachers, our preachers, our fathers. Like there's all these different people that I talk about, and all those things mean different things to different people. But you know, like I said, I think the cool thing about that, one of the cool things about that song is that I think it allows you to kind of put your own perspective as the listener
Right.
into it. So, but yeah, that's definitely one of my fondest memories of writing a song. Is just because I got very just emotionally into it, and it kind of all just happened at once, which as a songwriter, like sometimes you have to really wrestle with a song like for weeks or months or even years. And it's nice when that isn't the case.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you get an easy one, you're like, oh, this one just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, like there's a lot, you know, you hear all these different songwriters on different interviews and things, and they say the ones that are the easiest like that happen, like are the ones that stick around the longest, that are the ones that people respond to the most, probably the ones that are their hits. And
yeah.
I don't know, it's just weird how all of a sudden like the pieces fall into place, and then that's the one that everybody sings along to every night and stuff. And
Yeah. And I feel like oftentimes the most simple and approachable idea is the one that wins.
Right.
And then also like even beyond that, like you think about the most brilliant things that have ever been thought of by humans, and we think about them now as like that's so obvious, right? But it's only obvious because somebody thought of it. But like once they thought of it, you're like, oh my, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like on a much smaller scale, you know, that's kind of what happens sometimes as a songwriter, where you're like, oh, like I could have just said this, and that's exactly what I just needed to say. You know what I mean?
right.
Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in all the different devices you can use as a songwriter, and all the different, you know, how to flex your skills and flex your muscles on stuff. And it's like, dude, the easiest thing to do, or like really the best thing to do, is just, okay, what do you want to say?
Right.
Figure out what you want to say, and then just say it, you know?
Come from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a lot easier said than
Sure.
done, but in this particular case, in this song, I feel like that kind of just happened very naturally, and I didn't have to, you know, really struggle to get it out or anything. So that's always nice.
Yeah. What about, did you get to play for Mom?
On Mother's Day?
Yeah, or anything recently, like where she like, I can imagine that would be probably difficult to perform it in front of her and stuff too. Like,
Yeah, actually, this past week, last week, sorry, her and my dad were in Nashville and caught me at one of my shows.
yeah,
And I think that's the first time she's heard it like in a live setting with a band.
yeah,
It was cool, man. Yeah, it's a small little intimate vibe. Like it was this dive bar over in East Nashville near where I live. And it was cool. And also the people there, like I kind of told the story about the song and I was like, hey, by the way, she's here.
Yeah.
And everyone like clapped for her. It was cool.
Nice.
But yeah, she's very good at, keeping it together, but she was definitely feeling the emotions a little bit,
Right.
But yeah, it was cool. It was very special to be able to do that.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool thing you did. So, well, you can find this now along with everything else coming up on all your favorite digital music platforms. And we got socials. You can get plugged in with Tom on Instagram.
Yep. Instagram, TikTok, all the things. I'm musicoftommorrow.com /@musicoftommorrow on whatever social platforms.
Yeah.
Which is Music of Tomorrow with an extra M. So, that's cool,
Yeah.
I guess. Convenient that wasn't taken
Right.
on everything.
Yeah. So, get plugged in and again, grab tickets to join us at the Dark Room on May 17th in St. Louis, Missouri, with opening up for Dead Format over there. But we did do, you brought your guitar, and we did do some live jamming.
Oh, yeah.
And this is always a real, special thing for me to do some of these stripped down acoustic songs. And your second single, right? Unholy Affair.
Oh, yeah.
Is now available wherever you get your music at. But we did do a live acoustic version of it today here in the living room, and sounded great, man. This was really cool to do this. But what comes to mind when you think about Unholy Affair? What do you want to tell us?
So the song we were just talking about, We Are Our Mama, and I mentioned how quickly that became a thing, how quickly that was written within a couple weeks it had been recorded. Unholy Affair is the complete opposite. I wrote the bones of that song almost 5 years ago. So not recently at all. That song, the first version of it took a couple of months to write. I was like fresh into college, and sort of the backstory behind it is I was seeing this girl that at school for a bit, and like it was going great, like it was awesome, and I think that was maybe the first time I had really kind of felt some of those, big boy emotions, and she kind of just tore my heart out, and under for a reason which I at the time was like, okay, I guess I can understand that, but I quickly realized was an excuse, like not actually at all the reason, because essentially she was like, I went to a school that was a Christian college, but I'm not really much of a Christian myself. But this girl was like, hey, so like, you're not really much of a Christian, right? And I was like, yeah, but like we had talked about it multiple times, and she was like, that's fine. And then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, it's like, this isn't going to work. Like, sorry. And then just like literally got up and left. And I was like, what is happening here? And literally the next day I saw her on campus, like with this other dude, like making out like in the middle of the lawn. And I was like, what is this? So anyway, this song was kind of my teenage angst and anger being taken out, but in a way that's like, it's not like an angry song. It's a very like sad and sort of, it's sad, but also like me sort of pinning it back on her and being like, hey, like you said all these things about me, and there's all these lyrics about like, you're saying what makes you think you're such a saint, right? Like, because she was doing all these different things and
making out on campus, man.
I know. I was like, come on, at least give me like a week here or something, man, So anyway, I started writing that song. It took me a couple months to write the first version of it. And then I started playing it at writers rounds around Nashville, and very quickly, like people who were following me at the time were like, "Hey, this is a great song." Like, it became sort of the fan favorite. But this was years ago. Eventually, I started recording it with my producer Jack Cathriner, who actually is a fellow Kirkwood High School alum. We went to high school at the same place, and he moved to Nashville too. So he's down there, and we started recording the song. This would have been like 2022. And I had this whole like vision for like, it's the acoustic guitar. It's got this string quartet thing. And we filmed like some video with it and did all this stuff. And then we did it, and then kept, doing some overdubs. And over the months, like I just got super busy with school and other gigs and all this stuff. And I kind of the project just fell on the back burner. And then over the course of like the next several years, we like every so often we would revisit it for like a day or two and like try to piece it together. But between those periods of time, I had enough time to like develop myself as a songwriter more and as a producer more. And I would show the song to people and they would give me feedback and stuff. So basically over the course of several years, I tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it and just endlessly. And I was trying for so long to get all these things to be right, because unfortunately, when you work on something for that long, you eventually get to the point where you're like, okay, well, this needs to be perfect. Right. So, but eventually over the last couple months, I put the, I guess, quote unquote, finishing touches on it. To tell you the truth, I could probably work on this song till the day I die, and I would never be fully satisfied with it. But we got it to a point where we were happy, and I was like, I just need this thing to be out so I can move on with my life. And, so yeah, I'm definitely glad the thing is out. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very long process, but I think it's a great song. I really like it. I feel like it's definitely a time capsule in many ways for like sort of what I was feeling at the time when I wrote it initially. But it's cool because, and we'll get to this later, but it's going to be part of the upcoming EP that I'm putting out, which is like relatively acoustic driven. And I was like, man, like I just need to put this song on something at some point, and this seemed like a good opportunity to do it because, it fits the vibe of the other songs. And I was like, let's just do it. Let's just put it on this song, like on this record, just get it out there. It was painful to finish, but it would have been more painful if it just kept sitting there for however long. So glad it's finally out in the world.
Yeah. We'll take a listen to Unholy Affair.
You took my hand and kissed me slowly, held me closely like you said you never done. You picked me up when I was lonely, before you showed me how foxes have their fun. Was I just something you could play with? Strip me naked of all my dignity. They say that practicing makes perfect, so I suppose that you'll be perfect after me. And I wish that I could fit in your commandments. I wish the thought of me could bring you to your knees. But you're in love with Jesus, and I just can't compete, 'cause there is nothing holy about me. No, there is nothing holy about me. One day you told me that I'm crazy, 'cause the way we spend our Sundays ain't the same. But what you said has got me thinking, 'cause you've been drinking past communion every day. Still I wish that I could fit in your commandments. I wish the thought of me could bring you to your knees. But you're in love with Jesus, and I just can't compete. 'Cause there is nothing holy about me. No, there is nothing holy about me. Was faith an escape from the hate that you create? Was saving your ways worth the pain that you made? Is there something that I'm missing? Tell me what it is that makes you such a saint. And maybe I am just a sinner, but I know that in myself I still have faith. Yeah, I know that in myself I still have faith.
You mentioned, I was going to ask about if this was shaping up to be an EP or an album or what, or just these singles. But it's an EP you said coming up soon?
Yeah. My next release will be the full EP. So on June 13th, the whole project will come out. So it's the 2 singles that are already out, and then 3 additional songs for a total of 5. So I'm stoked, man. It's gonna be cool. We started recording, or I started writing this EP like last April, May kind of time. And then we recorded like a decent bit of it back in May, June last year. But then all of a sudden my touring schedule got like insane, and I was gone. I was out of Nashville for like 26 or 27 days out of the month. Mm-hmm. So the couple of days I was back, I was like, there's no way I'm trying to work on music right now. Like, I just need to sleep and not talk to anyone for however long. So flash forward a few months, once the tour stuff died down and I sort of made the decision to kind of step away from some of that stuff, then we sort of wrapped it all up and got it all finished. But yeah, it's coming out June 13th, 5 songs, debut EP. And from there, I think it's going to be some more singles, and then we'll kind of see what happens. But I'm just trying to feed the algorithm what it wants, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You played, you said kind of like more reggae stuff, and then Chase was kind of straightforward country.
Yeah, he's like on the pop country side of side of things.
And then yours, like I said, mostly feel like a lot, like at least from these 2 songs, pretty mellow acoustic feel to a lot of it. Yeah. So is that feels like that's kind of more in line of what you're going for as an artist, or do you feel like that's just this project and next could be different, or what are you feeling?
I think for sure this project's more of that acoustic driven stuff. I think that like that style of music making and like the level of production lends itself well to sort of more of an intricate songwriting sort of style. So like these songs are all, most of them are longer. Like they're I would say they're pretty intricate as far as the the lyrics go and sort of the concepts go, you know, you wouldn't hear them on top 40 radio for sure. But yeah, as far as the projects after that, I think the stuff I've been writing more recently, like in the last couple of months, has actually leaned more towards like, it's still got that singer-songwriter feel to it, but it's packaged in a little bit more of like a alternative or like even sometimes rocky or feel. Like I'm one of my favorite artists on the planet is Jeff Buckley, and I feel like I've been leaning into that sort of sound more recently, because he has sort of the more mellow, like really intricate sound and stuff, but then he also has the super like grungy hard rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that juxtaposition. So I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be quite like 90s grunge stuff, but definitely incorporating some more of that kind of dirt and grit into some of the more recent stuff I've been writing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I just wondering if that electric guitar was going to be introduced to and stuff.
Oh yeah. So actually one of the cool things about this EP is the track list. The first song on the EP starts out literally like the first song is just guitar vocal. There's nothing else. And then it's We Are, Oh Mama, and then Unholy Affair. So like those kind of start to ramp up production wise. The last song on the record is like, it starts out pretty mellow, but then it starts to just get more and more and more and more produced. Like all these instruments get introduced. And I think what's cool about it is, and it wasn't even necessarily intentional, I guess, but like by the end of the record, all of a sudden there's this, I'll give you a little spoiler here. There's a huge like electric guitar solo in it. That's sort of like, you know, Pink Floyd-y influence where, you know, you have, it's like a longer sort of like spacier vibe.
Cool.
And that kind of gives me I think the runway and like the permission to go wherever the hell I want after that, you know, which is cool. So the two singles after the EP are already planned out. But after that, there's a couple songs I'm working on right now that I think we're going to put out that might be a little bit more like high energy.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, I feel like even towards the end of We Are,
Yeah.
It builds like an energy up as you're kind of getting into that. Like, and I can feel like it's almost like could play very well to a live crowd.
Definitely.
You know, start singing great, kind of like a call and response type of situation almost there, like, you know, on a live setting and things. But it just feels like the way, especially with the drums and everything, that it kind of builds towards the end of that song. And
Yeah.
and so I'm excited to see how the audience starts to respond to that song for sure. And,
Definitely. Yeah, me too. It should be cool.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for you. I've got a debut EP June 13th, and I'm sure we'll have a pre-save link and all that stuff out shortly and stuff. And so keep an eye out.
Yep.
I was thinking, you know, talking about being back home here in town. What do you have like your spot, something you've a craving while you're on the road or anything like a meal or anything like that? Like, is there what's the thing in St. Louis that you're like, man, I can't wait to get home to do that or get this? Or
It's I cannot get enough of Fitz's root beer.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've grown up with it, but especially now that I like don't live here anymore, it's such a valuable commodity for me. So yeah, I'll just go to Sam's, pick up that 24 pack, bring it back with me, make it last as long as I possibly can.
Right.
I rationed them out this past time, so I ran out right before I came back. But yeah, Fizz's, and then controversial opinion, but Emo's is so good.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I rarely have it, but like I think every so often when I'm back here, I'm like, I'm just gonna go get a large pizza and eat it all by myself in one sitting because you can, because it's thin.
Yeah.
And people who are from Chicago would not understand what it's like to eat an entire pizza by yourself in one sitting and actually not even feel that terrible after.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, they actually they say real Chicago style is their tavern style.
oh really?
This is what I hear.
Okay.
I'm a St. Louis guy, so
Yeah.
I don't know, but the lore, the legend has it that the real Chicago style they don't mess with the deep dish. That the
Okay.
real style is tavern style,
Gotcha.
which is like a paper, real thin, flaky crust, and so it's different than Emo's, but similar, you know.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah. Interesting. Well,
and I guess they use mozzarella. They probably don't do the Provel.
Provel. Yeah, well,
So-
Provel gets a lot of hate, but man, I like it. I
Yeah.
think it's great.
But I just so that's my goal. I go when I do go to Chicago, I get a deep dish because I love it.
Yeah.
But I saw a reel the other day at this place called Pat's, and it's been there since like 1950. And they were saying that there's some really good pizza, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go try it and
There you go.
compare tavern style to the deep dish that I love. So
Yeah.
but I mean, like all that up there, Giordano's and
Oh yeah.
Illuminati's and whatever, all those. I mean, it's all good to me. I don't
Tough to
mind.
beat.
But
Yeah.
I don't. So there's not many pizza I don't like. Let's put it that way. Like
Yeah. It's
uh,
pretty easy to love.
right. But yeah, man. So I'm with you though. I'm like, I think it's one of those things. Like maybe you take it for granted a little bit because you can get it whenever, but then when you're like not here, and then you're like, well, now I want it. No, you know, it's
Right.
like.
Yeah, whenever I'm in town, like,
Yeah, right.
or especially like growing up, I would never go get
Yeah.
emos, you know, but it's only because it was available. So,
Yeah. But yeah.
it's funny. There are there's a surprising number of St. Louis people that I've met in Nashville that I'm friends with. That like, I don't know. I wouldn't have guessed like I would know. Like it's almost I know a disproportionately large amount of St. Louis people in Nashville, which is kind of funny. And so yeah, we'll like shoot the shit about all the different things that we all are craving or whatever from our hometowns. But
Well, a couple of them just came up here and did a show the other night. I wasn't able to make it, but I was really bummed about that. But it was Tara Lynn Pfister and Matt Wynn did like a songwriter showcase over in Belleville
cool.
at a place called The Venue on Main.
Oh, sweet.
And so it was cool to see two of my St. Louis friends coming home and playing a show together. There's somebody else on the bill, but I can't remember who else it was. But they, so anyway, it was just like, hey, we're both going up there. And I don't know if they rode together or anything like that, but it's just like, it was nice to see kind of them doing a show together.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that how much they knew each other before Nashville. I don't, maybe they did, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of maybe they met there and they're like, hey, we're both from St. Louis. Let's do a show back at home and bring our families out or whatever. So
For sure. Yeah, man, it's cool, especially like one of the cool things about Nashville as far as just the musicians that are there is, you know, I've been in New York, I've been in LA. Like, I feel like those places, it's less so like this. People in Nashville, like, they always pay homage to where they're from. They're like a lot more sort of chill and welcoming as far as like new people to town. They're not trying to gatekeep like all the opportunities for themselves because there's enough to go around, you know? So that's cool. And so, yeah, like it's really, you always know where your friends are from in Nashville because like very rarely are people actually from Nashville.
right.
So yeah, it's always a fun time to like get to know people and like, oh, you know, I'm on the road next month and I'm going to your hometown. Like, where should I go?
Yeah.
You know, like I get texts all the time from all my friends. Hey, I'm in St. Louis tonight playing a show. Actually, a couple of my buddies are playing on at Busch Stadium tomorrow. They play with Post Malone.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna go check out that show tomorrow.
That's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just like gonna go hang there with one of my friends and just get to go see the homies play where the St. Louis Cardinals play, which
Yeah.
is kind of nuts. But
Yeah.
back in July of last year, I got to play Hollywood Amphitheater Casino or Hollywood Casino Amphitheater.
Yeah, there you go.
Riverport, really, is what it's
right,
called.
Sure.
Let's get that straight.
Forever.
But yeah, man, that was cool to come, just to be able to play the
Chase.
Yeah, we opened for Luke Bryan,
Yeah.
who's a country artist, and
What's that like? Looking out there and seeing 20,000 people on the lawn.
it was pretty cool, man. It's
Yeah.
like, it's funny how the one thing I will say, and I've heard this from people who have been doing this forever, and I would, before I had played an arena or played an amphitheater or whatever, I'm like, man, what is it like? And they were all like, dude, it's cool, but like, you get used to it quicker than you think you would. And I was like, no, there's no way, right? Like, it's so true. Because if you're up there, you're doing your job, right? Like, that's your job is to execute a great show. You're not even thinking about the audience. You know what I mean? Like, you are to some degree, like, you're trying to interact with them and you're trying to put on a good performance and like move around on stage and it like look out at people and try to create a moment, but it's not like you're thinking there the whole time, like, oh my God, there's 20,000 people, like,
Yeah.
at that amount of people, you can't even, if you can't count how many people are in the room, like, it's all the same.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Anything past a couple of thousand, it's like, it doesn't make much of a
Right.
difference. So yeah, there's a lot of energy, and that was a special show because my folks were there and some of my friends were there and some other family and stuff. And the fact that it was my hometown is just
Yeah.
really cool. But
Did they make did the band like do anything different for you for when you're coming home or anything? Did they make a big deal out of it, or is it just another gig kind of thing?
honestly, it was just kind of another gig. I mean,
Yeah.
we got a shipment of Lion's Choice and gooey butter cake
All right.
for all the guys that have never tried either.
Yeah, sure.
Because myself and then our front of house engineer were both from St. Louis, so we were like, we gotta get y'all on the
Right.
on the train here.
You're gonna learn today.
Exactly. But no, honestly, like, that tour was so grueling after a while. Like, we were just out so much and we had so many shows. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone had it in them to to make anything. The fact that my parents were there and all that stuff, like, was more than I needed.
Yeah.
As a coming home.
Yeah.
So
I just think those things are kind of fun. Like we went to see Justin Moore and Randy Houser, and I remember like it wasn't like that was because of St. Louis. It was just I think it would happen to be the last night of the tour.
yeah.
Or one of those last nights of his tour, or something, whatever it was. But they all like Randy showed up on Justin's set and like drove in on a golf cart, and all his band was like all wearing wigs and like, just having fun,
Yeah.
goofing with them, and they were all singing and stuff and
That's funny.
stuff like that. So it's like, they're all just having a party and,
Yeah.
and we're there to play along. So, but,
Cool, man.
I was thinking about the amphitheater effect, and there was one of my absolute favorites, and I talk about him quite a bit on the show. But Will Hogue is just one of my. He's just an incredible songwriter, but he told a story about he wrote the song "Even If It Breaks Your Heart" that Eli Young Band cut. He co-wrote with Eric Pasley.
Cool.
And he cut it on his record. And then a little bit later, Eli Young Band cut it on their record, made it a big hit.
Yeah.
And then I guess Eli Young Band invited Will out to co-write some stuff on the road. So and they were on tour with Kenny Chesney at the time.
Okay.
And so Will got to go out there, I think during their set or something. I think he was like doing background vocals or something like that. And, typically his gigs are a little smaller in the clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, he's like, saying what a trip it was to be out there in front of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people, start singing his song
Right.
back to him, and he's
wild.
like, he's up there and he's like, man, I wrote this motherfucker. And he's like,
Yeah.
and so,
That's awesome.
I just I always laugh at that line, and like maybe like that's got to be a pretty wild feeling, especially like it's one to be up down on a stage at all playing guitar, but when these words that you wrote down on a piece of paper, and now you're having this kind of effect that 40,000 people are singing every word back to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like some of Chase's songs were like that, where everyone knew him. You know, even when we were opening for, Luke Bryan or Jason Aldean or we did some festivals with like Jelly Roll and all these people, right? Somehow like I didn't know that this many people had heard this song before. But oftentimes what happens right now, I feel like, especially is you'll hear something on TikTok or whatever, and you don't even know who sings it, right? So like if you go to a festival and Chase Matthews playing that festival, like you might not necessarily know who he is, but you know this song because you've heard it on the internet, right?
Right.
So that kind of thing happened a lot. And it was dope for me to sit up there and be like, I mean, I didn't write the song, but it was still cool.
Sure, definitely.
But one thing I did, I think, learn about myself in that like whole process was, I think when I was younger, I was under the impression that as long as I was playing music at all, like that's all I needed. You know what I mean? And to some degree that's still true, but I've definitely, I have done the whole, I've done the road dog thing. Like I've been on tour, I've done all this stuff. And I realized like, man, if I'm not putting my own mark onto something, even if it's in a small way, I don't have to be the main guy necessarily, but like if I had written the song, one or some of the songs, or like heck, even played on the record, or like, come up with certain arrangements, whatever, like that kind of thing is much more fulfilling. Whereas like I felt like a lot of the gigs that I've played and a lot of the touring I was doing, it was kind of just here, learn this thing that's already like the program exists whether I'm there or not, right? So it was less about my own individual contribution creatively. It was more about sort of like, okay, well, can you play this list of songs and sing them at the same time and like perform well in front of a crowd? If you can do that, you got the gig, right? Which is great. And that's a great experience. But I did, a big reason why I've ended up leaving that is because I was like, man, I'm very much willing to trade like a big crowd or a cushy, like a tour bus gig for like, playing for 30 people and they're like all of them are listening to me play my own shit.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
And one of the most fulfilling shows I've ever played was about a year ago. I did a headliner in Nashville at a venue called Third and Lindsley, which is like one of my favorite rooms in town. And like, there's probably 70, 80 people there. Like wasn't a big show, but I got to play songs that I wrote that I was really proud of, and my friends came, some of my family came, and like, it just felt like that night felt like a bigger deal to me than I think any festival or any big arena show I've played has ever felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was like I'm the only person on the planet that could have written these songs and performed them in the way that we performed them. That moment, that night only existed the one time, and it's never going to exist again. And it only could have happened because of me. Right. Versus like, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about anything that I've done, but like, yeah, if you're playing a gig where it's like the same songs every night, like, and there's not, you're playing them to a click track or to tracks or stuff like that. You're not necessarily intentionally switching up things every night or whatever. It can get kind of old after a while, and you're like, man, I wish I was doing something a little different here, but it's not my gig. I'm not the boss. So like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And the fact that I could do that on a small scale is really dope. And obviously the goal for this is to do it on a bigger scale.
I think it's the same could be said compared to, I mean, essentially it's a cover song. You know, you were playing somebody else's
Right.
song.
Yeah.
You know, it's like playing a cover gig for your originals, you know, and then like seeing people respond to your originals is a lot more fulfilling than playing Sweet Home Alabama again,
Right.
you know, or whatever. So,
Yeah. Or like Cruise
yeah,
or whatever,
sure,
you know?
yeah.
And the interesting thing is like, no one knows like, I haven't been in a situation where I've heard a room full of people singing my own song back to me
Right.
before. But
Yet,
I've been around that enough to know that like, that is definitely what I'm chasing. You know what I mean?
All right.
And I think it'll happen. It's just going to take some time. But
I'll sing along next time.
oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So
Yeah, I'm pumped for you though. This is very
Thanks, man.
exciting, and it's I love seeing the growth. You know, putting in the work and making things happen here.
definitely.
But we do have one more we wanted to leak out there. This is
Oh yeah.
little teaser to get you excited for what's to come here. But we got one more we want to share called "Still Yours for the Taking."
Mm-hmm.
This is a live acoustic rendition here on the show, but this will appear on the upcoming EP
Yes.
due out June 13th.
Yep.
And
Or sorry, no, actually this one will not appear on that EP.
Oh,
This
it's
will
not
be released probably like shortly after
Oh, okay.
the EP. Sorry.
all right.
Yeah, this one is
So
this one kind of was recorded in a different way than the other than the stuff on the EP was. This is
all
more
right.
of like a full production. Like we actually went into a studio and like did the thing that way, versus the EP was a lot more at home, a lot more intimate, kind of piecing it together versus like sitting down and recording most of it at the same time. So yeah, this one actually will not be on the June 13th EP, but you won't have to wait too much longer after that
All right.
for it to be out. You can actually find this song if you do some digging. You can find it on the internet in a couple of different places, but I'm not going to tell you where.
Right.
You can go figure it out for yourself if you really want to hear the like a full band version or something.
Right on.
It exists. I will tell you that.
Anything we need to know about this one? Is there any story to go with it or anything?
Yeah, this was written actually at a similar time the We Are Oh Mama. This is more directly about like sort of some feelings I was feeling after parting ways with someone who I loved a lot, and the whole like purpose of the song was, and like the message I'm trying to send is it's like the hook is my mine's not for changing, but my heart's still yours for the taking. Meaning we have decided to split up for, you know, whatever reasons. It will, you know, mainly life just kind of getting in the way. We went on different paths. And but just because you decided to split up doesn't mean that it makes it any less painful. You know what I mean? Like we didn't split up because we didn't love each other anymore. It was like, you know, we were living several states away and didn't really see a light at the end of that tunnel. So it's kind of like, all right, well, maybe we should just call it quits here. So yeah, the whole point of the song is I was just like, damn, like, you know, I really just want this to work, but it just can't. You know what I mean? So my mind's not for changing, meaning the decision's not going to change, but my heart's always going to be yours for the taking, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a very heartfelt song, and I hope you enjoy this
Yeah.
version that we have presented to you right now, and look out for the full band version coming not so terribly far away.
Yeah. Very cool.
I don't yearn for the bottle. I don't yearn for the news. The only thing on my list of desires is you. I don't beg God for water, plead Mother Nature for food. Wherefore I feel true desperation is you, only you. This body that I've been blessed with, next to you it works perfectly. But after you left I've experienced some reduced functionality. Now my hands are forsaken, smile just for faking, feet just to walk out on the life we were making, eyes just to see how unhappy we've been. But my mind is not for changing, my heart's still yours for the taking. Open myself up to others, flipped round that sign on my door, but the only hands that need not knock to enter are yours, only yours. This body that I've been blessed with, next to you it works perfectly. After you left I've experienced some reduced functionality. Now my hands are forsaken, smile just for faking, feet just to walk out on the life we were making, eyes just to see how unhappy we've been. Though my mind not for changing, my heart's still yours for the taking. I stare in the mirror to find myself, but nobody's there to look back. But if I look closely for long enough, someone will appear in the glass whose hands are for breaking, smile never fading, feet just to walk towards the life I'm creating, eyes just to see who I will be someday. But my mind, it's not for changing, my heart's still yours for the taking. Yeah, it's always yours for the taking. Yeah, it's always yours for the taking. It's always yours for the taking.
Again, you can join us this weekend at the Dark Room, May 17th. Do we have an official website or anything, or is it just Instagram best way to get a hold of you or for more dates and things? Or?
Yeah, I've got a website. It's musicoftommorrow.com. It has a shows tab on it. You can click the little calendar icon on it. And then, yeah, you can check out the details for the show either there or on the Darkroom website, or the there's a Facebook page for the show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, go check it out. tickets are available either online or at the door. Music, I believe, starts at 10. So I think I go on at 10.
Yeah, they do a little later there.
Yeah. But it's Saturday night, baby. Come on
Yeah.
out. You ain't got work in the morning.
Right.
Come on. Yeah. Come on out and check it out. It's going to be cool. And we're going to put on a good show for you guys.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm excited for you.
Hell yeah, man.
And again, mark the date, June 13th for the EP.
Yep.
And so looking for the second half of the year, and having a brand new debut EP.
Yep.
What do you foresee that you would like to do with this? Do you want to do your own regional tour or something or anything like that, or what do you think's in work for the remainder of the year for you?
Yeah. As far as, so I'm gonna do a release show that weekend, the weekend of June 13th in Nashville. So if you're in the Nashville area, be on the lookout for that. It'll be that weekend. Beyond that, though, I've got more singles on the way. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do another, full project, something like that. Pumping out a lot of content, trying to get those numbers up, man. But yeah, I think the big thing is going to be, I'm just going to try to collaborate with a lot of different artists, do a lot of writing, maybe do some features or, see kind of what happens there. And then I don't think I'm quite at the point yet where I am going to do like a headline tour. But I've got some opener slots kind of coming up, that you'll see at some point here.
Nice.
And then, just going to kind of take it from there, see what happens. Try to work some magic. And if I think it would be right, I would love to do like a regional thing this fall, like a headline thing this fall. Do St. Louis, Chicago, Nashville, Memphis, like that kind of a circuit.
Yeah.
Maybe hit New York or LA once or twice. So yeah, just really looking to kind of expand this project because now for the first time ever, like my own solo thing is or at least my first priority. It's not my full focus. Obviously I still have other stuff in my life going on, but it is the thing that I'm most focused on and most trying to make happen, for the first time, which is really cool. And I'm very stoked to be able to say that. So
I was just thinking about it the other day because it popped up, but I met this guy, Chris Simmons. He was out on tour with Leon Russell at the time. This is going back 15 years.
okay.
But Chris was in Leon's band
Yeah.
as lead guitar and maybe some background vocals or whatever. And I forget, I can't remember if he did a actual proper opening set, but I think he maybe just played the break. But Leon, was, I think, at least in the 70s at the time.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So he would take a break in the middle of the set,
Okay.
leave stage, and let Chris lead the band,
Cool.
and played his own original music and introduced the audience to what his stuff, his record. And then, Leon comes back out and closes the show. And I just thought that was a really cool way to do that, to be an artist, hey, here, let's share a fan base,
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple minutes in front of my crowd every night to do your thing. And
Definitely.
And I'm just like, man, so as yourself as a guitar player, I'm like, that would be kind of a cool gig if you could find the right opportunity to, like something like that, to where you can link up with another artist to, have that opportunity, something like that. But
Yeah, it's funny. A couple times when I was playing with Chase, he would have me do like a song in the middle of the set.
yeah, nice.
That happened a couple times. And then one show I did with Iam at the Gramercy in Manhattan, in downtown New York. like, I guess the opener, some sort of miscommunication happened, and either they didn't schedule an opener or they didn't show up or something. And they were like, we need an opener. They're like, do you want to do a 25-minute set?
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So that was cool. Yeah, like stuff like that, it would eventually, like every once in a while, it'd pop up. But yeah, having a more of like a steady sort of thing. And like, I feel like there's a lot of artists right now that I really love who are kind of doing that thing. Like there's an artist named McGee who he works with another artist named Dijon, who they're in similar circles, but Dijon's a little bit more well established than McGee, I guess, was for a while. And so he would like produce for him and like play in his band and stuff on the road. But then like Dijon like helped catapult this dude's career with like live opportunities and production and all these different things. So yeah, working with an artist like that closely would be really dope too.
Right.
I'm still trying to find that, I think, because it's hard to, I think in Nashville, it's kind of hard to find somebody who's like, I guess, who has a similar sound or similar fan base, who is like, you know, much larger than the projects I've got right now. Because there's everything, there's all kinds of music there, but the like biggest industry there is still country.
Right.
And it's not like my music's like entirely removed from country, but it's not country, you know? And if it's not truly country, then like country fans aren't going to consider it country, and they might listen to it, but they're not going to like go to your show thinking that it's going to be country music. You know, I can't link up with a country artist and be like, hey, let me play my little sad boy like singer-songwriter songs, you know, at this thing. So
it is kind of funny though, because country music now is everything. Like it's
it's permeated every genre.
You've got rap, you got rock, you've got you know, singer-songwriter, you've got whatever, you know, it's all mixed in there, you know. The fact that Post Malone's a country artist now and everything, you know, it's just like
great.
Jelly Roll and all these guys, like, you know, just like this all falls under the umbrella of country music, but it's really just a giant, you know, blender of everything. So
yeah, which is cool. And I think like it's interesting because there is two sides of that coin, because there's the people that are like totally down for the fusion of all these different things. And then there's people that are not at all. Like there's
purists for sure.
Yeah. I was recently on a gig with, and I was talking to one of the radio reps he's a radio guy at Warner Music. And he did some work with Zach Bryan. And he was like, when Zach Bryan was like becoming a big artist, like all these radio people were like, he's not country. And this guy's like, well, yeah, he's not like George Strait country, but he's like, this is still country enough. And also this is where everything's going. So y'all better smarten up and you better start playing this dude's record, or you're like going to lose a bunch of people. And like the radio stations that played Zach Bryan, like got a lot of listeners, and the ones that didn't, and they were like crossing their arms and they were like, oh, it's not country enough. They were like left in the dust. And it's like, yeah, you gotta pay attention here. Like things change,
right.
You know?
What do you think of the feud going on? You paid attention to any of that?
Oh, with Zach Bryan?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, no. I try to stay out of the politics of artistry as much as I can.
So John Moreland is like one of my absolute favorite writers. The guy's just a juggernaut, powerhouse writer. And I've been a fan for forever, long before he was doing what he's doing. And but I think it's just, the whole thing is kind of silly. I was going to ask you about it. It was just because like I was going to be like, is there anybody we could start a feud with tonight that we could you know, really start get everybody talking about your music, but
get some beef going. Yeah.
But it you know, it is silly. So anyway, it hasn't, like, I guess he sold his catalog for $350 million.
Yeah.
And then they're re-releasing his record, but he cut the track that he did with John Moreland.
Okay.
So he got kicked off the record, and then so John like fired back and said something on socials like, being kicked off of a Zach Bryan record is way cooler than being on a Zach Bryan record or something like that. Like
That's funny.
I don't know, something along those lines. And but yeah, like it. I guess he was saying that they originally did it because they're both from the same area down in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And wanted to be supportive. And then I guess at the time he didn't know him, but then he said he's met him a couple of times. He just doesn't get along with the guy, and like they just have some kind of friction there and stuff. So
Interesting. Yeah.
But anyway, it's just funny that he decided that's the only song I guess he cut off his record was that one. So it's like
that feels pretty calculated.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't think I know enough about that situation to have a nuanced opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I know very little. I might be wrong on some of the stuff, but that's kind of what I gathered from reading something and watching. I watched a little clip of John talking about it. I haven't really seen Zach's side, but I just think it's funny that we got this, feud. Right. So
that's funny. Yeah, I'll have to look into it a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean he's a controversial figure in general,
right?
So I just use him as an example. I wasn't
the guy was on a rocket to the top, man. Like it's crazy what he did with.
Oh yeah.
And like you're saying, like if people, I'm sure there was, and I feel like radio has done that several times over and over. We don't get it, it's like it's not their sound or not our thing, and then all of a sudden that guy,
right,
keeps working and then just on a rocket.
Well, yeah, and I feel like there's innovators and there's emulators, and I think like oftentimes what you see with the innovators, like Zach Bryan definitely, regardless of him as a person or whatever, like he definitely is an innovator in the sense that he like he essentially did what no country artist has been able to do, which is like he went to the top of the country music industry and scene and like became one of the biggest country artists without like playing the game. Like he does not care about the industry or like making people happy within the labels or the radio or all these different things. Like he doesn't give a shit. He just did what he's going to do, and he got a ridiculous amount of play, and then everyone's like, oh my God, he's the best artist ever. And then now you have like 1.6 million 19-year-old dudes on TikTok trying to do the exact same thing.
Right.
And so it's like, it's like, you can't argue with the reach that he's had. It's like every dude who was born after like 2001 plays guitar at least a little bit like John Mayer. Like, doesn't matter if you like his music or not. Like, he just permeated so much stuff that like now everyone's just trying to follow that, even if it's not a conscious choice. Like, so anyway, my point though that I'm trying to say is like there are people like that they create a direction for things to go rather than trying to go in the direction they're already going in.
Right.
So then that's how you get, movement within the music industry, which is good. That's what we want. It's like, you don't want things to sound the same forever. So like, there's a lot of things that I think some of these artists have released, that some of these big artists that we know and love that are pioneers, like your Bob Dylans and your Joni Mitchells and all these people, like at the time they were released, they probably weren't like, people were like, what is this? And then society caught up to them eventually. And now everyone wants to be them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. You're not going to immediately be popular if you're like pushing the envelope, I guess.
I do like, I'm not a super fan, but I do like that Zach took it back to songwriting. It's not, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say he's like full country, but it's like, but it is back to the songwriter. It's like, that's what I love about Moreland. That's what I love about Jason Isbell. I like what I like. He's Tyler Childers and Sergil Simpson and stuff. These guys are all, great songwriters and stuff. And like, they're not all over the radio, but they're writing some of the best music, I feel like. And
not only the best music, but like, and this is a personal taste thing, but I kind of can't stand the way that a lot of the modern country music physically sounds, like the sonic profile of it, like the super heavy auto-tune and all these different things. Like one thing that I do like about a lot of those guys' music, like Tyler Childers and Jason Isbell, like Zach Bryan, like half his songs sound like they were recorded in his living room.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he's singing out of tune and his guitar is out of tune.
Right.
And like there's a point where something becomes too perfect where I just become disinterested in it. You know what I mean? That's not like a hard and fast rule either. Like there's plenty of the modern country stuff that I think is cool, and also it's not just country either. It's everything, you know? But I think it's like, you have to consider the package you're creating for your piece of art. Like for example, Sabrina Carpenter's new record, like the fact that it sounds like so hi-fi and like so good makes total sense, because that is like from a songwriting perspective and an artistic perspective, like that's what they're going for. And she has a very sparkly kind of image. So it makes sense that her record sounds very sparkly and very new and modern. Right. You know what I mean? But if you're talking about like some like Tyler Childers or some guy who's like supposed to be like this dude who was raised in a holler and like trying to sing these songs that he wrote, and you're going to put him through a whole bunch of autotune and all this other stuff. It's like, that's not what that music needs at all. Also, half those guys can actually sing really, like Stapleton, for example. I love Stapleton because his records and his sound is just like, it's so pure and so raw. He doesn't need autotune. Mm-hmm. The dude can sing better than anyone on the planet. You know what I mean? And that's partially why it's like, I would much rather listen to something like from him than, I'm not going to name any names, but there's plenty of people in the charts right now where I'm just like, what is this?
Sure.
You know?
Man, I saw Stapleton in the Firebird.
Oh, cool.
Right when Traveler came out, like
at the Firebird?
Yeah,
Really?
with like sold out like 400 people or whatever. And
whoa. Was that, what was like 2015, 2014?
Yeah, something in there maybe.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I'm like, it was like really special, man. Like, I mean, especially being like a couple feet from him as he's singing those songs, like it was really powerful. Like, you know, I'm glad to see him finally get the success that he deserved, you know, because like he was one of those guys that have been, everybody that knew that this guy's a, you know,
he's a monster.
Yeah. All the Steel Driver stuff he did and everything, Johnson.
So good.
So, you know, finally getting his due and in a big way.
Yeah. That's funny because the Firebird, which has been gone for a long time, right?
Right.
I played one of the most comedically terrible gigs of my entire career at the Firebird. Actually, probably multiple of the most comedically terrible gigs at the Firebird with a band I was in high school. Yeah, it was... Well, actually, the one I'm thinking of, again, I'm not going to name any names, but we were opening for this band that we thought was like pretty big because they had a lot of play. They had a lot of streams on this stuff. Turns out that the only reason they had a lot of streams was because their music is heavily utilized in like Minecraft animated videos.
Oh, yeah.
So all their fans are like probably 11-year-old boys, which are not going to the Firebird, by the way. So they literally, I'm not even kidding. They like walked up to us and they were like, hey, can we go before you guys and you guys go after us? Because we brought 0 people.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to leave. And we were like, you brought how many? And they weren't exaggerating. They literally brought 0 people. They sold 0 tickets. And so we were like, sure. So the headliners went before us. They left. And then we played to like the 8 people that we brought or whatever. You know, like it was hilarious. I think that was shortly before the Firebird's demise. But
I did a similar, I think it was Mac Miller years ago. I went to see him live.
Where at?
At the Pageant.
Okay, cool.
But I knew I was big on his music.
Yeah.
I was a fan, and then I get there, and I'm like twice as old as everybody else in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what happened here? Like, how is his fan base teenagers? And I'm, I've connected. I mean, not that we can't all listen to it, but I'm just like, I felt like I was hanging out in the back, like I'm like the dad that drove the kids to the show, and I just felt like really awkward as
Like the chauffeur.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just like everybody,
That's funny.
So, and it was really a strange situation for me. So I'm like, still had a good time, but I'm just like, is really that was the only like time that I really like felt that as like the fan base didn't quite match the show, like kind of thing, like it's like,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that from Mac, but I don't know.
it was weird, it was different, but we was still I don't know if they connected to other songs like later in his career.
Yeah,
But I mean, I was like big on his early stuff for sure.
definitely. Yeah, that's
But
cool.
R.I.P.
I know, man. He was incredible.
Yep.
A lot of those guys. Very unfortunate they're no longer around.
Yeah.
There's a couple of my buddies play for some. Funny that you mentioned young crowds. Some of my buddies have been playing for some of these artists who are like remember that yodeling kid on like Yodel Kid from Walmart?
Yeah.
So he's like a serious country artist now.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies plays keys for him on tour, and like it's just hilarious because like he's like 19 now or whatever. He's like an adult, or I guess 19 isn't really an adult, but like it's like theoretically an adult. But like this dude, just like all of his fans are like 12-year-old girls. Another one of my friends plays for an artist who is like 15, and he's like, for some reason, like this huge viral hit amongst like the middle school girl population. So he's like, dude, literally like the people that come to our show are moms and like 10-year-old girls, and they scream, like they only know the sound, like the TikTok sound. They only know the lyrics from the TikTok sound. So they don't know the verses. They only know like whatever snippet gets played on TikTok. It's hilarious. And they're like, it's just like a sea of little girls just at the top of their lungs screaming the like 6 lyrics that they know at the top. And then the rest of the show is just silent. And he's like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. It's just funny. Like the demographics are so out of whack right now because I think of the social media stuff. Like
there was excuse me. There was again, this is dating, but there was a band in the 90s. This my buddy told me the story, and it was not firsthand, but made me laugh. But the band was Deep Blue Something, and they had that hit Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar at all, but anyway, it was they're kind of considered a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
So like that was their song that was all over the radio.
Yeah.
And they came to town and they played some kind of free show that the Point or whoever put on.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, if you showed up for this song, here it is. And then like they played their song, and then everybody like the majority of the crowd like left, like it was like, and I just laughed thinking about that, pulling that move, like if that, like I was saying, if that never the other situation, if they would just do like the one that everybody knows, and like everybody's like, well, I came for that's what I wanted to see. So
I think that's why they always say that for last.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, with Chase, we played a college, like some sort of a graduation, like event party thing, whatever party kind of thing was going on. And, I can't remember the band's name, but the band that did that song, going at it tonight, there's a party on the rooftop, top of the world. Like,
I don't remember.
I can't remember what they're called.
I know the song, but
they played like the first hour of their set was like this new material that no one, like everyone was sitting there just waiting for that song for an hour.
Right.
And they're playing all this material to a crowd that like literally does not care at all. And then they get to that song and everyone's going nuts. And then that was the end of their set because they saved it for last.
Thank you. Good night.
And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough to be in that situation.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, man. Well, this has been a ton of fun. I'm really glad we made this work today.
Yeah, brother.
Again, get plugged in on the socials. Follow along on your favorite digital music platform.
Yep.
And keep an eye out. Debut EP on the way.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on.
But,
yeah. Check me out, y'all.
Yeah, really, this has been a great night, man. I'm a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad we could do this.
Absolutely. Good to finally sit down, and it's been a while since we've seen each other. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I gotta come out to Nashville. I gotta come down there and party with you some night.
yeah, let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah, that'd be. I haven't been down in a while, and like, I got quite a few friends that call Nashville home. So
Sweet,
it'd
man.
be fun to catch some songwriter rounds and do all that.
Definitely.
Do it up right.
Come on down.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, buddy. Bye,
you, man.
everybody.
See y'all.